All right, if I can get a couple of yeses from everybody, can y'all see the screen? Ridwan, are you able to see my screen?
Yeah,
Okay.
see it.
If I can just get another yes or a couple of yeses from other people, just so I know that it's working, and then we'll get started. Okay, perfect. All right, everyone. So I want to again welcome you to another live coaching call for EEA Masters. Again, this is the second of the 5 coaching calls we'll be doing for the new batch of students. And of course, these coaching calls are also open to any previous students who would like to benefit and grab some value from any of these coaching calls. Today's Wednesday, March 16th, and I'm very excited about today's coaching call specifically because we have a guest with us who I'll be introducing in just a couple of minutes. Before I introduce him, again, I want to say a big thank you to all of you who are attending for attending this second live coaching call. Again, I know that it's very easy for you to simply access the recording anytime you want after this coaching call. But you made time if in your busy schedules and your busy lives to attend here live and benefit, and being able to ask questions and having your questions and concerns addressed directly from myself and from any guest speakers we have. So I thank you, and I really appreciate that you're attending live and not just accessing the recording. Also, it helps that I'm not talking to nobody. So thank you for that. So in this coaching call, we're going to be discussing 4 things. The first agenda item for today is I'm going to introduce our guest, Ridwan Mahmoud. He is the founder of Profit Phoenix, and some of you, or most of you, probably should know about Profit Phoenix and the software, and many of you, I'm sure, are members of that platform. So very blessed and appreciate that he's here with us today, and I'll be introducing him in just a second. He's going to be covering this topic of ocean shipping in depth and step by step. So this is a very big demand for amongst students in the first batch as well as in the second batch of students. Many people have said, air shipping is so expensive, and we want to do ocean shipping, but we don't know how the process works because it's a little bit more complicated than air shipping, but it saves you a lot of money. And so we would like to know exactly how the step by step process works for ocean shipping. What are the exact things we need? What are the companies that we can contact? Do we have any contacts that we can reference? All of that stuff, Ridwan, inshallah, will be covering in this presentation as our guest speaker today. Then we're going to do some submitted Q&A. We had a couple of questions that y'all submitted via the form that I sent out a few days ago. And then finally, we'll have some live Q&A, which will involve both myself and Ridwan. And you can ask us any questions you have about anything that was covered either in this coaching call or even any other question that you may have regarding the business. So without further ado, let's jump into agenda item number 1, Ridwan Mahmoud. He is an 18-year-old entrepreneur from London, UK. So if you can believe that, mashallah, at a very young age, at only 18 years old, he has, a platform, a software known as Profit Phoenix set up and helping literally thousands of Amazon sellers with their Amazon businesses. Not only that, but he has his own Amazon business that he started just 6 to 8 months ago, um, and he's already doing extremely well in that he's scaling it very quickly. Before that, though, he started his first online business at the age of 13. He made $15,000 in his first year selling domains. So, from a very young age, he had that entrepreneurial mindset, started making money doing business. And as I mentioned, he started his Amazon FBA business just 6 to 8 months ago, but he's already doing multiple 5 figures a month, mashallah. He has several products already, and he's scaling very quickly. He's also, as I mentioned, the founder and CEO of Profit Phoenix, the most powerful Amazon software on the market, which he created after being frustrated with the manual processes of running an Amazon business. And as y'all know, I'm not shy about promoting his software because I love it myself and I've used it extensively for product selection and many other things. Now he also has an email tool and whatnot. So for those of you who aren't using Profit Phoenix, I highly encourage and recommend that you do that. And for those of you who are, now you get a chance to listen to the founder and CEO of that software and of that platform. So without further ado, Ridwan, go ahead. Inshallah, he's going to be covering ocean shipping, as I mentioned. I'm very excited to hear this from him because I'm also someone who's not a very knowledgeable or extensively knowledgeable on this topic, and I'm going to be benefiting and taking notes just as all of you are. So I, hope y'all will pay close attention and benefit and get some value from this, inshallah. Ridwan, you there?
Yep, inshallah, I'm just going to try and set up the screen sharing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Figure this out. Okay, is the right screen showing? Is it showing a presentation?
Yes, I can see it. Let's get some confirmation from everybody else. Can y'all see the screen? If y'all can just give us a yes. You should be seeing a screen that says Profit Phoenix, Ocean Shipping plus sourcing tips. Okay, perfect. So we have a few yeses, so we're ready to go, I think.
So I'm going to be talking to you today about ocean shipping and sourcing tips. So I didn't know that Brother Fazan was going to introduce me, so I did have a quick intro here, but I'll quickly run through it since it's quick.
Hey,
So my name is Ridwan Hamid, as you said. Sorry?
Ridwan, before you continue, sorry, do you see that the session is being recorded? Is that there on your screen?
I see a button which says record, as in, should I press that?
Go ahead and press that, yeah.
Okay, yep, it's working now. So let me repeat what I said for the recording. So Assalamu alaikum and hello and welcome everyone to this training. So I'm going to be talking to you today about ocean shipping and product sourcing tips. So Brother Fazan already introduced me. I didn't know he was going to do that, but I've got a quick intro here. And essentially, let me make this full screen. You should be able to see it full screen now. My name is Ridwan Mahmood, and I'm a 17-year-old entrepreneur from London. So I'm actually 17, brother, not 18 yet, inshallah soon. And I've built a 7-figure e-commerce and software company in the last few months. It's been about 6 to 8 months. And in this time, I've started an e-commerce business, obviously selling on Amazon, as well as a software business, Profit Phoenix. And alhamdulillah, I've scaled it to the 7-figure level in quite a short period of time. And I've also coached hundreds of people in the Amazon game over the last few months on all the different fields. So hopefully today I can share with you some of the things that I've learned from, taking a lot of action, and also from, because of having the software, I've had an insight into thousands of people's businesses. So I have an understanding of a lot of the different situations. So inshallah, I can share with you some of that today. So I'm also the founder of Profit Phoenix, as Farzan said, which is the #1 software for product research, rank tracking, customer follow-up marketing, sales tracking, and a lot more. And this is something that I created because when I started selling on Amazon, there existed the old way, as you can see here, where you needed to get multiple different softwares, and these softwares weren't very good. They're very complicated and difficult to use, and the expense of using all of these softwares was a lot. So you can see before you had to get 5-6 different softwares, and it used to cost a lot of money. You're paying a lot of money before you even start making money. Whereas now with Profit Phoenix, we have what's called the new way, which is where it's just one software. Everything you need is within there. It's easy to use and simple to use, even if you don't have a technical background, and it's very affordable. So that was the aim that we had when creating Profit Phoenix, and I've sort of achieved that, and we're always constantly improving it. So that's just a quick intro on myself. Here's what we're going to be covering today in this training: how to do ocean shipping so that your shipping cost can be dramatically reduced, how to source more effectively so that you can make more profit. So these are the two main things. And these two things are extremely powerful if you can implement them. Because if you can reduce the cost of goods, it means that less money is spent, meaning you can get started for less. And then more can be ordered because your costs are lower. And if you had a certain budget like 1,000, if your cost per unit goes down from $2 to $1, you can order a lot more inventory as a result of that. And then you can charge less and make the same amount of profit, because say for example, if your cost per unit is $1 lower than everyone else on Amazon, you can charge $1 less and make a lot more sales as a result of that and make the same amount of profit. Or you can make more profit as well. There's different strategies, as you'll come across in Brother Fazan's course, where you can be expensive and make a certain amount of sales, or you can be less and make your profit per unit is less, but the amount of sales make up for it. Ocean shipping allows you to choose which one to go for, because it gives you a lot of room to play around with, and it gives you a large margin for error as well. So it's a good safety net to have. Now, the two things we'll be covering today are about increasing the profit you make in your business. We're not wasting time with fluff or nonsense. This is 100% focused on increasing the actual income that you make. Because at the end of the day, it's not your Amazon sales which feed your family or pay the bills. It's the actual income that you generate from your business, not your revenue. So profit maximization deserves just as much effort as other components of your business. That's what we're looking at today, profit maximization in two aspects of the business, which is ocean shipping, so decreasing the cost of shipping, and then product sourcing. So ocean shipping, what we're going to cover about that is the future of selling on Amazon and why ocean shipping will become essential in the long term, the benefits of ocean shipping, the two companies that I recommend using and why you should use both, and the easiest way to do ocean shipping, and absolutely everything that you need to know. Everything about ocean shipping will be covered today. There's nothing that's been missed out of this. And if you have any questions, there will be a Q&A session as far as I'm said, so we'll cover it there. So what is ocean shipping? Okay, well, normally we ship by air express. That's what is normally done when you are shipping the product. That's what everyone does usually for the first few orders. And what air express is where a courier, for example, UPS or FedEx or DHL, they take it from the supplier to Amazon's warehouse by plane and also trucks, obviously, and they handle everything for you from door to door. They'll take it from the supplier to Amazon. It's a seamless process and everything is done for you. Now, the advantage of this is that it's fast. It usually takes 4 to 7 days for air express shipping to happen, but the downside is that it's expensive. It's normally about $5 a kilogram, which is a lot of money. Ocean shipping works differently. So whereas air shipping is obviously by a plane where your cartons are loaded into a plane, the way ocean shipping works is that your product is loaded into a shipping container like the one you see there, and then it's loaded onto a ship just like that, and then it travels across the ocean. It goes from China to the USA, and the ocean transit will take about 9 to 30 days. Okay, so where with Air Express it was 4 to 7 days, ocean can take 9 to 30 days. Okay, it takes a lot longer for it to happen. That's just the ocean transit, by the way, the amount of time it's on the ocean. When it arrives in the US, there's then a whole process it needs to go through, which will then take up even more time. Okay, it will arrive in the USA, it then needs to clear customs, then it needs to go to a warehouse in the USA to be stored and processed to get ready to be sent to Amazon, and then finally it's then sent to Amazon via either pickup or delivery, and I'll talk about that later on. So as you can see, it's a lot more complicated than air shipping. Now, while air shipping is built from a weight perspective, which is in terms of kilograms, ocean shipping is built through a CBM system. What this means is cubic meters. Okay, so basically how much space it takes up in the container. Okay, so that's called LCL. So say that shipping container that you saw, the amount of space that your product takes up in the container determines how much you are charged. But if you have a very large shipment and you can fill up an entire container on your own, okay, so LCL is called less than container load. This is where, say for example, you only have 2,000 units, it's not enough to fill a whole container, so you're going to be in a shared container with other people. But let's say for example you're shipping 8,000 units, depending on the product, that might be enough to fill a whole container by yourself. That will be FCL, okay, which is called full container load. And in this case, you are charged the cost of a container instead of the amount of space that your product takes up. So ocean shipping, as you just saw there, it's a lot more complex and it takes a lot longer. But it costs a lot less and is way more profitable. So there are challenges associated with ocean shipping. But if you learn how to navigate these challenges, and I will show you how to do that today, it means that you're going to open the doors for literally, double, triple the amount of profit. So let me give an example of how powerful ocean shipping can be in your business. Okay, your normal $25 product is probably around 1 pound in weight, which is 0.45 kg. And 1 kg is roughly 2 units, okay? Because 1 pound is 0.45 kg, so 1 kg is about 2 units. And since $5 per kg is the average price in air shipping, in this specific scenario, our cost per unit for the shipping is $2.5 per unit. And you'll see in a lot of cases, sometimes the shipping costs more than the product itself. It's crazy how expensive air shipping is. So you can see in this case, for air shipping, we would be charged $2.5 per unit. So if you're ordering 1,000 units of a $2 product, that's going to cost $2,000 in product cost, and then $2,500 in shipping. Okay, that's a total of $4,500, and you can see in this example, the shipping is more expensive than the product. However, with Ocean, the cost per unit isn't $2.5 per unit in regards to the shipping. It's about 0.6 to $1 per unit. So if we look at that same example, the product cost is the same, $2,000 for 1,000 units, but then if we say 0.7 as the rough guideline for how much it will cost, that's a $700 shipping cost, okay? Would you rather pay $2,500 for shipping or $700 for shipping? The difference this makes is huge. Because one, you could order more stock with that money you're saving, you could sell more units, you could do more aggressive giveaways, you can spend less money. Obviously, I don't recommend that you do that. If you have a budget, spend as much of it as possible. Don't choose to spend less money. And then 3, you can make way more profit. So as you can see, ocean shipping is something which increases the amount of money that you make considerably. But it's also something important to implement in the long term. And here's why. It is true that Amazon is becoming increasingly competitive and saturated because more sellers are entering the market. Now, this isn't something to worry about that much, but it's just something that you should be aware of. What you need to understand is that this business is an economies of scale business, meaning that as quantity increases, your scale of business increases. Your cost per unit decreases because of larger quantities, resulting in discounts and warranting the use of ocean shipping. So why is it essential that we take advantage of this concept of economies of scale, and why do I believe that the people who don't use ocean shipping are going to see their businesses suffer a painful death in the next 2 to 3 years? It's because the Amazon marketplace is just simple economics, supply and demand. What happens when supply increases in a market? And in Amazon context, supply increasing means more sellers. It becoming more competitive is because of more sellers. So more sellers means more supply in the economic model. So what happens to a market when the amount of supply increases? When there is more supply in a market, prices fall, meaning that everyone is going to be forced to charge lower and lower prices just to be able to exist and even sell anything at all. This means that only the sellers who are able to sustain lower prices and still make a profit at these lower prices will be able to thrive. Everyone else won't be able to sustain those lower prices or make a profit and will eventually go out of business. So who are these sellers who will be able to sustain those lower prices, survive these price crashes and still make a profit? It's the sellers using ocean shipping, because ocean shipping decreases your cost per unit massively. So this is the process of how ocean shipping works, and I'll run through it in detail now for you. So step 1, your order is completed by the supplier. Okay, they do their manufacturing as normal. Then what happens is that it's taken to the forwarder's warehouse near the Chinese port. And then from the Chinese port, it's then loaded onto the ship, and it then travels on the ocean. It then arrives at the port in the USA, then it goes through customs clearance, then it arrives at the forwarder's warehouse and is processed to be shipped to Amazon, and then it's delivered to Amazon. So there's quite a few steps, but don't worry, you'll see that it's actually as easy as air shipping. So let's look at the easiest way to do this. Obviously, we've explained that it's complex, we've explained the benefits Now, how do we actually do it? The first thing, these are a few quick pointers before we begin. Always make sure to get FOB pricing from the supplier. Don't do EXW. What this means is when it's FOB, the shipping of getting it from the factory to the port is paid for by the supplier. If you do EXW or EXWorks, it means that you're going to have to pay the shipping company to come pick it up. Now the problem with that is that shipping companies are going to try and make a profit out of that. Whereas if you got your supplier to do the shipping, they're not a shipping company. They don't make their profit from shipping. So if you understand what I mean here, it's like, for example, asking your brother to drop off to the shopping center. He's not going to charge you for that because that's not what he does. His business is not. He doesn't make his money from driving people around. Whereas if you go hire a taxi company or an Uber, they are going to charge you because that's what they do. That's how they make their money. Which is why get your supplier to give you FOB pricing so that the shipping is paid for up to the port. That's just to avoid, unnecessary price gouging. The next thing is to make sure that you always plan out your stock times properly, okay? Because it's not as easy. Stock management does become more difficult with ocean shipping because you need to remember that it's your usual lead time, whatever your production lead time is, plus an extra 20 to 30 days for ocean. So you just need to make sure that you plan for that. And the best way to plan for that is to remember that it's not a black and white thing. You don't only use air shipping or you don't only use ocean shipping. The best thing to do is to use both in conjunction, okay? Send emergency stock replenishment through air and send the bulk of your orders through ocean. This allows you to make sure that you never go out of stock but still get the benefits of that bulk shipping. And I'm going to show you two methods of ocean shipping, the easy way and the hard way, okay? So this is the easy way. I recommend sending your shipments through Forest Shipping. This is the company forestshipping.com, as they are experts on FBA and are extremely experienced. So you can contact them and ask for a door-to-door ocean shipping quote, essentially them handling everything from start to finish, including the delivery to Amazon. And when you contact Forest Shipping, these are the details that you need to provide them. Product name and details, just so they know what the product is. FOB port, this is the nearest ocean shipping port of that product. For example, it could be Shenzhen or Ningbo or Tianjin or Shenzhen, etc. They just need to know that so that they know where it is in China. Then the HS code of the product. This is used by shipping companies to calculate what the taxes and duties would be in advance. Then the total weight, and then the CBM, okay? Now don't worry, because, for example, this might be the first time you've ever heard of a HS code or CBM. Now don't worry about this, because you just email your supplier saying, tell us these, 5 things, and they'll just tell you, okay? The Chinese, they know this stuff inside out. You don't need to worry about it. Just ask your supplier, tell me this so I can get a quote from Forest Shipping, and they'll tell you it. There's no problem. So don't get confused about the HS code or anything like that. And then they can give you a quote, okay? And as always, you should always do this. Whenever someone gives you a quote, you then negotiate a bit, okay, to get it down, because the first price is never the final price. It can always be better, and then you finalize everything, okay? The details, the price, the contract, whatever. And once you finalize the price with Forest Shipping, you then give them your supplier's contact details. Then Forest Shipping will then arrange everything from there. And then when it arrives in their LA warehouse, you will need to pay them. Okay, that's when you pay Forest Shipping. And then what you do is you make an FBA shipping plan for them, but this time you make it a LTL shipment. So you'll see in Farzan's course this training on how to make a shipping plan, and I'm assuming he shows you how to create a small parcel delivery shipment. With Ocean, what you do instead is you do an LTL shipment. This means less than truckload. This is where they're going to come pick up your shipment, or your shipment's going to be delivered through trucks, essentially because it's ocean shipping, so it's a much larger shipment, so it needs to be palletized. And this is extremely simple, so don't worry about any issues with that. It's extremely easy. I would say it's easier than making a small parcel delivery. And when you're making the LTL shipment, it's going to ask you which company to select. You just select other, because obviously forward shipping isn't going to be in the list. And then Amazon's going to ask you for the pallet and carton info. All they want to know is the number of cartons and the number of pallets. That's it. Okay? Forward shipping will tell you this. You just put it in Amazon system, and they will then give you labels to go on the cartons, and then you give them to forward shipping. Forward shipping, they will then put the labels on all the cartons, and then they will palletize it, and then they will deliver it. That is all straightforward and simple. This is actually as easy as air shipping. When you use forest shipping, ocean shipping is as simple as air shipping, because it's exactly the same. You just get a quote, then you just give the supplier's contact details, and they do the entire process for you. You're not having to deal with any of these intricacies because they do everything for you. The only difference is the way you generate the labels, but you still generate labels anyway with air shipping. So you can't say that this is more difficult than air shipping, because you still do labels anyway with air. So as you can see, with this method of using forest shipping, ocean shipping becomes incredibly easy and simple to do, okay, because they handle everything for you. So that's the easy way to do ocean shipping. I'm now going to show you how to do it the hard way, okay? And why do we do the hard way? Okay, why, if this option is so perfect, why do we do it? The reason is because there's one downside to using forest shipping, and this is because they ship your goods in their name, okay? That's a good thing, because their good reputation will get you through customs faster and easier, and you're much less likely to run into problems. It also means that there will be no paperwork or extra work for you, because it's being entirely shipped in Forest's name and record. The only downside is that your own reputation with US Customs isn't being built at all. So in the long term, you do want the US Customs to have a reputation of your company, so that you can, so that you're not always reliant on Forest, and so that you can ship with anyone and be able to get through customs. It's just something that is useful to have. Now, you may not even care about this, okay? Some people, they don't care that the fact that their reputation isn't being built with the US Customs, and that's fine. It's up to you whether, this is a big enough reason. So the solution is to sometimes use a freight forwarder who doesn't ship in their name and do things the normal way, okay? And why I say the normal way is because normally ocean shipping is a lot more complicated, okay? Where forests make it as easy as air shipping. So when you're doing things the normal way, where it's a bit more difficult, I recommend using eternalship.com. That's the forwarder that I recommend using. And here's how it works when you do it the hard way. You contact them and provide the same details that you provided Forest, but you also ask for a continuous bond, okay? And what a continuous bond is an insurance policy for US Customs, which is required for importing. And in continuous bonds, they last all year round, and you should only get a continuous bond, because when you get the other type of bond, a single-use bond, it means that you have to, someone from customs has to sign off your shipment every single time it goes through, which then means that you're much more likely to get inspected and be fined and all that kind of stuff, because someone has to sign it off. But once you have a continuous bond, it can go through without that. So you need to get a continuous bond. So you contact them the same way that you contact Forest, but you also mention that you need a continuous bond. They then give you a quote, and then again, you negotiate just like with Forest, and once everything is finalized, they're going to send you some forms. They'll send you a bond registration form and a power of attorney form. Bond registration form, as we just discussed, is needed for importing into the US, and the power of attorney form is just giving Eternal Ship the authorization to act on your behalf in the process. So fill those out and send it to them, and then proceed as you do with Forest. You give supplier contact details, move ahead, and they'll handle everything from there. What you need to do is make it clear to Eternal Ship that it should be delivered to their US partner warehouse, okay? And make sure, in LA by the way, and make sure to make it clear that labels will need to be applied to the cartons and pallets, and to get that included in the cost. You don't want it to arrive in the USA and then you're saying, by the way, we need to have labels applied, but that wasn't agreed earlier on, and now you're going to create a weird negotiation situation. Make sure to get these intricacies discussed and finalized beforehand. Once it arrives at their warehouse, we can use Amazon's partnered LTL carrier to take it from the warehouse in LA to Amazon. So notice the difference with forward shipping. Because they're experts in FBA and they make the whole process simple, we can have them deliver to Amazon for us. But in this situation, when we do it the hard way, we get Amazon to come pick it up and take it. And then basically the way it works is in Seller Central, when you're creating the shipping plan, just select Amazon Partner Carrier, you choose LTL, and the rest is straightforward. So that's how to do ocean shipping. The only one thing to point out is they're going to give you some pallet requirements. Amazon's going to say the products need to be palletized in a certain way. Make sure to send that to Eternal Ship so it's done in the right way, and you just create that, and you create the LTL plan, and Amazon will come pick it up from the warehouse, and it's all straightforward. And you can contact Amazon support and they'll explain it to you. Amazon support is very useful for questions about LTL and all that kind of stuff. So that is how to do ocean shipping. You're probably surprised about how simple it was. Okay, it is actually a lot easier than most people think, and this is an advantage because the majority of people will never do ocean shipping because they just think it's way too complicated. So that's their loss. Let them make less profit. Okay, you can get an edge over your competitors by doing this. So when is the right time to start doing ocean shipping? That's something which everyone always asks. The thing is, there's too many factors at play to give a general answer. For example, how much you can afford to order. If you're selling, 300 units a month, and the lead time is 60 days now, but you can only afford to order 200 units, you using ocean shipping is not a good idea at all because you can't afford to order the amount of stock to make sure that you're in stock for a long period of time. Or, your production lead time. If your production lead time is 2 months, it's going to become very difficult to use ocean shipping. And it also depends on your sales volume. Okay, there's many different factors at play. So what you need to do is look at all these numbers and just figure out for yourself, just think about the lead time and look at your sales volume and figure it out. The best thing is to do is to, as I said, know all your numbers and then make a decision from there. And as I said at the beginning, the smartest thing to do is to use ocean shipping and air shipping in conjunction so that you never go out of stock, but you still make massive profit. So for example, an order of 2,000 units, you could send in 500 by air and 1,500 by ocean. Okay, you can get your supplier to do that. It's extremely easy and simple. So that is ocean shipping, and we're going to move on to some product sourcing tips in a second. But Farzan, should we take some questions on ocean shipping now, or should we do that later on?
Let's go ahead and complete the presentation, and then towards the end, we'll take all the questions at once together, inshallah.
Okay, cool. Just 1 second, I'm going to have a quick sip of water. Okay, we'll continue now. So product sourcing. So that's ocean shipping. That is how to do it. Now product sourcing. So product sourcing is something which is already taught extensively in courses. And obviously you guys have gone Brother Farzan's course and it's taught extensively there. So instead of teaching it inside out, I'm just going to share a collection of tips instead. So the biggest impact that you can make on your sourcing is to go to the Canton Fair and or get a sourcing agent. So let's talk about the Canton Fair first. So the Canton Fair is held twice a year in April and October in Guangzhou, China. And what it is, it's the largest private label / wholesale market in the world. It is absolutely massive. It's 1.1 million square meters and there's over 60,000 suppliers there. It's absolutely huge. And you can see some pictures here of what it looks like. And you can see that, for example, if you look in the bottom right picture, you can see there's 3 buildings in the the foreground of the picture. But if you look on the left, there's another 2 massive buildings. Okay, it is all of these buildings. It's absolutely massive. Okay, it is probably the biggest like center you'll ever go to. And basically, the Canton Fair consists of 3 phases, and each happens separately. But when you go for the first time, you should go to just phase 2, because that has the most relevant products for private labelists. And if you go a second time, evaluate whether phase 1 or phase 3 is better for your interests, and go to phase 2 plus that. And you can see on cantonfair.net what the difference is between the phases, but just know that phase 2 is the most relevant one to go to. So that's what the Canton Fair roughly is. So what are the advantages of actually going? What is the point? Why should you consider this? The first reason is because you can find and get access to the products that no one is even aware of. Okay, because this is mainland China. You're getting access to things which won't be on the internet, so no one else can touch what is going to be seen there. You can also establish face-to-face relationships with suppliers. This just means that they're going to take you a lot more seriously, and it gives you the chance to set a good impression, which, if you're going to be doing that product for a long time, it's a good thing to do, because it just makes the relationship a lot more real and serious. It's not just something over email, and they're more likely to give you better deals and all that. You can also negotiate better prices, and you can also get access to products that aren't even on Alibaba. Now, Alibaba is a good resource, and definitely for your first product, to keep everything streamlined, you should use it. Second, third product as well. Alibaba is still a very good platform. But one of the problems of Alibaba is that there's so many trading companies on it. Okay, many of us think that we're dealing with a factory, but the reality is probably 90% of the companies on Alibaba are trading companies. They're not the actual factory, which means that you're getting charged a lot more than it actually costs. Now, at the Canton Fair, 99% of the companies there are factories, real manufacturers, meaning that you can get cheaper prices than Alibaba. And again, if you combine this with the ocean shipping, you have a double edge over everyone else. The impact this can make is incredible. The quality of the products is also a lot better than Alibaba. All the companies which serve this industry are there as well. So, for example, shipping companies, inspection companies, factoring banks, etc. They're at the Canton Fair. So all the associated companies which help us do business, they're there as well. You can see products right in front of you, and you can ask questions and get them answered straight away. And there's also real transparency and legitimacy. Sometimes on Alibaba, it can feel like you're handing over money without a full understanding of what you're actually paying for and who the money is going to. But this is a lot more transparent, and you'll have a lot more confidence. And all the companies there are legitimate, and they're vetted by the Chinese government, etc. You won't find anything dodgy there. Now, going there costs you between £1,000 to £5,000. I understand you guys are from the US, so probably about $1,500 to $7,000, whatever, is what it costs to go. And it depends on hotel, how long you go for, airline, that kind of thing. Now, you should only go if you have enough money to launch at least 10 products. Going to the Canton Fair to launch anything less than 10 products is going to be a waste of your time and money. So only go if you're ready to scale a lot. So the Canton Fair, as I covered that. So here's a strategy to use for when you go to the Canton Fair, and this is a strategy that I've used to source many products. The first thing is identify in advance which sections you are interested in. So on the Canton Fair website, you will see what the different areas of the fair are during each phase. So identify which ones you want to see. In the first 3 days, you should walk through every single hall of those sections, and this will take a very long time. You'll think that 3 days just for walking and checking things out, you'll think that's that's way too long. But trust me, when you're there and you see how massive it is, you will understand. Okay. So look at every single trade stand. Okay, just walk through and look at every single trade stand. And when a supplier's products just look interesting, the keyword is look. they just look interesting, ask to take a catalog, okay? And then later on you can analyze. The key thing about the Canton Fair is to get as much out of it as possible, to get as many contacts as possible, see as many people as possible. Okay? It's not true, because the thing is, if you sit there and you spend all the time having a 1-hour conversation with everyone you see, that's just going to slow things down, and you're going to come back with only like 10, 20 contacts. But if you take a lead generation first approach, where you want to get as many catalogs, just get access to as many suppliers as possible, when you come back, you're going to have access to hundreds of people. So those first 3 days, just walk around, collect as many catalogs as possible, and bring a suitcase with you, put it in there, and then just focus on collecting as many catalogs as possible. And then on the third night at your hotel, you should now have a huge amount of catalogs. You need to realize that there are too many potential products, okay? So each supplier has loads of products. You can't take a product approach to the Canton Fair, because there's literally millions of products there. Instead, you take a supplier approach. So what you do is you focus on identifying the best suppliers, and then you create a brand and product line from those best suppliers. So on night 3, you need to open up and skim through the catalogs and identify who looks like the best suppliers in terms of product line, quality, and your vision of what you want to achieve, whether it's kitchen products, beauty products, that kind of thing. And then make a short list of about 20 suppliers, okay? Or something like that, whatever number is comfortable with you. And you should have at least 20 suppliers shortlisted. So remember, we still have hundreds of suppliers. So when we get back home, we will have time to explore those as well. But these are just the 20 hottest ones that we want to explore further. So then, still on night 3 in your hotel, text those 20 suppliers and ask them for their booth and hall number, okay? Don't think that you will be able to find someone again in the Canton Fair. The Canton Fair is the biggest thing you're ever going to go to. So you need to ask them the specific location in the fair so that you can find them again. And then make a list of those 20 suppliers on paper, all their details. And then day 4, go and speak to those 20 suppliers and ask them if they have any Amazon customers. And if they do say yes, ask what products their Amazon customers are selling, and then gather data on those products, okay? Open the Profit Phoenix market research tool, type in the name of the product. If it looks good, get more details on the product in terms of, price, MOQ, lead time, FOB port, that kind of thing. And then just, make an Excel list, or, on paper, whatever, make a list of products like that. If they say that they don't have any Amazon customers, which will be the majority of suppliers, some of them don't even know what it is, ask what products they are exporting which sell well in the USA, and then gather details on those, and just check them in the Profit Phoenix market research tool. If they look good, take them down, get all the details. And by doing this, you will shortlist at least 50 products to launch. And then on day 5, which ends really early because that's the day that they pack up, just chill out, have another short meeting to take the relationship further and see more of the suppliers if you didn't get to see all of them. And this day finishes at 12 p.m. As I said, they pack up on this day. So that's the Canton Fair approach, okay? If you want to scale your business, this is something very good to go to, because it will allow you to go to China, meet lots of suppliers face to face, and discuss with them in person. Now, sourcing agents, as I said, the 2 best opportunities to do are the Canton Fair and sourcing agents. The Canton Fair is only, a few weeks, twice a year, okay? So it's not going to, suffice you an entire year of sourcing, because what do you do outside of that? Okay, so, and also dealing with them, etc. So the sourcing agent thing is still as critical, if not more important, than the Canton Fair. The other thing is the Canton Fair, 10 products minimum, or you're wasting your time and money, and it also costs a lot to go. Sourcing agent is something which you can do even if you only have 1 or 2 products, and it's a lot more accessible. So sourcing agents are one of the best ways to grow your business, because they are experts in sourcing, they have decades of experience in this, and they're on the ground in China. So they can find a lot more people, find those factories, and get a lot more done. And they're also full-time sources, okay? When you get started, this is probably the first or second product you're sourcing. these guys have sourced hundreds and thousands of products, and they've sourced, millions and millions of units, okay? And these guys, they'll be able to find the best quality and lowest cost suppliers for you. It's also extremely simple and effective because all the work is done by someone else. Let's say, for example, the sourcing agent doesn't get a lower price for you. It's the exact same price. That's still worth it because you didn't need to do the sourcing, okay? Because remember, it's not just about financial profit, it's also about lifestyle profit. Even if the profit doesn't go up at all, but the amount of time you're putting in goes down, that is still an increase in profit, just a different type of profit. It frees up your time. So don't undervalue that. Don't always want to do anything and everything yourself, because scaling in this business, outsourcing and getting a team is really important for that. So the best way to get a sourcing agent is the Profit Phoenix sourcing service, which just launched and closed yesterday. Okay, so if you got it, that's awesome. But if you didn't and you're interested, you will need to wait until April to get that. If you don't want to get the Profit Phoenix sourcing service, you can hire your own sourcing agent from places like Upwork.com and that kind of thing, but it's going to cost you way more than what we're offering. So I'd recommend that if you find that interesting. So that was the two things, Canton Fair and sourcing agent. Now here's some tips for when you're negotiating yourself on Alibaba. The first thing is urgency. Okay, give them a deadline to get back to you. So don't always keep the negotiation open where it's going on with no end for weeks and weeks and weeks or days and days and days. Make it clear that you need to get back to me with a new price within 48 hours. Okay? You need to give urgency because that then puts pressure on the sales rep at the supplier to perform for you. The other thing is escalation. So what you can say when you're negotiating on Alibaba is, please speak to your boss or manager about this price. And the reason why you want to do this is because the sales reps for every product, they have a minimum price they can go down to, and they can't go down below that. But with authorization from their boss, they can. But the thing is, you need to tell them to go and do that so that they do that. So telling them to discuss it with their boss or their manager will automatically get you lower prices. Competition. Make sure to tell them about the other quote suppliers that other quote suppliers have been giving you. Make it clear that they're not the only person that you're speaking to. Okay, that will get you better quotes. And also talk about the future. Be clear that this isn't a one and done transaction like all the other people contacting them. Be clear that this is the start of future long-term business. Okay, that you're going to place multiple repeat orders for this product. That you're going to look to order other products from them as well, because they want repeat customers. And if you become a repeat customer, they're going to bend over backwards for you. I've got suppliers where, I've got 8 products from them or 10 products from them, and they will bend over backwards for me if I want anything done. So certain products on Amazon where everyone else is sourcing it for $4, I'm getting it for $2 because from that same supplier, I've got 9 other products. So they're going to do anything to make me happy. So make sure to build that real long-term business partnership with people, because in the long run, it's going to open things for you which no one else will have. And remember, Amazon is about competing with other sellers. Getting an advantage anywhere and everywhere you can will make you succeed. It's about the slight edge. And if you can stack it, so you have multiple slight edges, your cost per unit is lower than everyone else, your shipping is lower than everyone else, your packaging is better than everyone else, that kind of stuff. When you stack multiple slight edges like that, you become unstoppable. Then the other thing, just a few more tips, is always speak to many suppliers. Never only speak to 1 or 2 suppliers, because then you become desperate because you don't have that choice. And always do the negotiation before ordering the sample. Get the price that you want before ordering the sample, because then otherwise, you could be wasting time and money on samples where the person isn't going to meet the price that you want. And finally, never be in a rush. Okay? Because if you're in a rush, you're going to become desperate and not get the ideal price. And again, I did also say about urgency. So you need to make sure that you are balanced between urgency and also not being in a rush. So I've got 2 example emails here to show all those different, I'd call them triggers, you know, those things I just went through. I'd call them triggers that you can pull when talking to suppliers to get lower prices. And I'm going to show you 2 example emails now to show you how we would implement these triggers in actual, you know, negotiation. So this is an example of the kind of email that I would use to first contact a supplier. And I apologize, it is small, but GoToWebinar should have good quality. So hopefully you can read it, and I will be reading it out as well, obviously. So this is the kind of email I would use when first contacting a supplier. Hi, I am the sourcing director of Profit Phoenix, a global private label marketing company. Our company is now expanding its operations into the cooking equipment industry, and the silicone spatula that you manufacture has been highlighted by our research process. We'd like to place a test order for your silicone spatula of 500 units. These 500 units should be private labeled and come in polybag packaging. Please include the cost of this as well as cost of air express shipping to the USA in your quotation. This is an initial test order to assess your production capabilities as well as the speed and quality of your manufacturing. If you are able to perform well for us with a competitive price, great quality, and fast manufacturing, we will then follow up with larger repeat orders. Please get back to me ASAP because we are also in talks with other suppliers and we'll be choosing someone in the next few days. Regards, Ridwan. So you can see this email hits pretty much all of the triggers. Okay, it's a really good email for contacting someone in the first email because we mention everything which needs to be mentioned, and we also add things here and there which will make the supplier do what you want. And you can see, for example, this is really powerful. For example, this sentence here, this is an initial test order to assess your production capabilities as well as the speed and quality of your manufacturing. So when you're first getting started, you might only be ordering a small quantity. And when you contact suppliers, it looks like you're a small buyer, so they don't really care about you. They're not really going to do much for you. But by saying that the reason why you're placing a small order is to test their quality and speed, it turns it on them. Instead of you being the timid one in the negotiation because you're a small buyer, it flips it so that the pressure is now on them to perform in regards to speed and quality. So this is a very good email to use when first contacting someone. And when negotiating, so getting the price to be lowered, this is the kind of email that I would use. Unfortunately, the quotation you have provided is higher than others we have received, so we are going to have to reject it. Our target price for this item is $2 a unit. I understand that may not be possible, but please speak to your boss or manager and get as close to that as you can. We're a fast-growing company with international operations and are planning to go big into this new market. We want to align ourselves with a long-term business partner in China who we will collaborate with in the long term and across many products, a partner with whom we intend to make a lot of money with over the next few years. I appreciate your prompt communication and like your quality, so we'd really like that partner to be you. I know our companies will be a perfect fit together. Please speak to your boss and see what you can do. Let me know ASAP as we are close to finalizing with other suppliers this week, so we don't have much time. Thanks, Ridwan. So you can see this email, it hits all the triggers again. We're using urgency, we're using escalation, we're using competition, we're talking about the future, etc. But it's also very polite. This is the kind of email that you need to do because it's polite, but it's very firm. Negotiate hard and don't be soft. Use this kind of email because it strikes the perfect balance. And remember, profit is king. So go with the person, the supplier, who's going to give you the price that you want. And the way I suggest doing it is, do that negotiation with loads of people, and then select the two to three top suppliers based on the negotiation, and then order samples. And then now that you've got the price that you want, then you can choose based on quality, lead time, etc. once you have the samples. So that is it from me. We've covered ocean shipping plus some product sourcing tips. That's everything I've got shared. That's everything that I've got to share with you today. And just one final tip: use the software in Profit Phoenix. We've got so many tools like the Keyword Cloud tool, which can help increase your sales by getting you more free traffic. The rank tracking tool, which is going to make your life easy. Our new sales tracker coming out soon. Use each and every tool in the software because each one has been designed to help you succeed. And obviously, if you need help with anything, we have our support team, support@profitphoenix.com, live chat within the software itself, and phone support coming very soon. So if you need any help, do let us know. that is all from me. And yeah, Farzan, that's it. So thanks for listening, guys. I hope that was beneficial.
Oh yeah, excellent. Well, first of all, I just want to say, wow, that was amazing. Honestly, I mean, I'm part of so many different Facebook groups. I've taken other Amazon courses, and I've never seen, I mean, in the couple of years that I've been a part of this, pursuing the Amazon business and e-commerce, mashallah, I've never seen someone present the topic of ocean shipping in such a clear and concise manner, and to offer so many different tips, not only on ocean shipping, on, like he presented the easy way to do it, which is honestly unheard of. I've never heard someone even talk about that. I've always just heard of the quote unquote hard way to do it, which is even itself also not as hard as one may think. And then also the product sourcing tips and the negotiating with suppliers. All of that was invaluable, and it was extremely beneficial. And I'm sure not only for myself, but for everyone who's listening and for everyone who's going to watch the recording eventually. So again, thank you so much, Ridwan, for all of that extremely beneficial and valuable information.
No problem, bro. It's my pleasure.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and switch the screen to myself, and we will continue. Okay, can you all see my screen? Okay, great. Okay, so there are a couple of questions that have come in. There are a couple of submitted Q&A. We can do those after the live Q&A, no problem. There's only 2 submitted questions. I know people are hasty to have some of their questions answered based on everything that Ridwan just presented. So let's get into that. Y'all can go ahead and submit your questions now. We're going to go through them, and either I or Ridwan will answer them, inshallah. Someone asked, can we please be provided with the sample emails? Yes. This entire presentation was recorded, and also I'll make sure to get the info. Ridwan, it would be okay for me to get the templates from you, right? So I can post them.
Yeah, I'll send you the PDF of the slides, and
Okay,
it'll be in
perfect.
there as well.
Okay, great. So that's great for you guys. Y'all will have everything that he just presented. Y'all can simply copy and paste it from the PDF as a template. Sorry, I missed the last 10 minutes, but did he show the demo of his software? If not, can you do it next time? So the demo of the software is, it was actually part of the free videos, and it's actually also in the course itself. So y'all can access that. I believe it's module 2 towards the end, where I talk about how you can accelerate the process of product research and selection. And then there's also a link there within the course where you can sign up for a 30-day free trial to Profit Phoenix. So for the person who asked that question, you can go ahead in the course in module 2 and watch not only the demo video, but also get access to the software free for 30 days if you haven't already done that. Okay, are there any other questions about anything that he presented? Ocean shipping, sourcing, negotiating with suppliers, and anything else so far that you may have had trouble with, or you may have had any questions or concerns about from the course? Uh, if you do, go ahead and submit those questions now, like I said. While people are submitting their questions, I'm just going to address these 2 questions that were submitted by someone via the link that I sent out a few days ago. So how long does it generally take to get a sample item from an Alibaba supplier? Generally, it takes about a week or 5 to 10 days. Generally, again, there are different factors that affect that time to get the sample, but that's kind of the general time frame you should expect. And then, should we enter a market that is owned by a brand name supplier? For example, a baby toy made by Little Tyke. Is it worth it to make a knockoff version and have it priced lower than the competitors? So there are a few points that I would make here in response to this question, and I'll let Ridwan chime in as well on this question after I'm done here. So are people, first of all, are people searching specifically for the brand? So you need to know whether Little Tyke is being searched by people. So instead of just putting the name of the baby toy generically, are people actually searching Little Tyke and then whatever the name of the baby toy is? Are they doing that or not? You can find that out not only for free or easily with Amazon search suggestions, meaning that when you start typing in something in the Amazon search box, Amazon actually gives you search suggestions based on obviously the most keywords or search terms that people are searching for on Amazon. So that's one very easy way to go about doing it. There are other softwares like Merchant Words and Jungle Scout and others who can also and I believe even Prophet Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken, Ridwan, you can clarify that. That could help you see whether people are searching specifically for the brand name or for the a generic baby toy, mentioning. So if it's specifically the brand name, then it's probably not a good idea necessarily to go with that product because it means that it's the demand in that market is based off of the brand name. It's brand dominated. Whereas if they're not searching specifically for the brand name, then there may be room to penetrate the market. The second point is, does Little Tyke have many different variations of the same type of toy? So what I mean by this is that a lot of times large brands will have different versions of a type of product. So if it's a baby toy, let's say it's like a type of towel or bib, they'll have like different colors, different styles, different patterns, right? Different even characters or animals or whatever on that type of toy or on that type of product. And if that brand has like such a wide variety of products, it may be difficult to compete against them with as your own private labeled product because generally you're only going to be able to source one type of product, right, or one type of style or variation. And even if you do order different variations, like different colors and different styles and whatnot, it's very difficult to determine and predict how much demand there will be for every one of those different variations, and that could end up being a problem in the long term. The third point is, are there other sellers successfully competing with Little Tyke in this product market? So that's a very important point because if you see that other sellers are also selling the same type of toy that Little Tyke is, and they're competing well, right? And some of those even maybe existing private labeled products competing against Little Tyke. If they're able to compete with them and if their BSRs are comparable and the number of reviews and whatnot, then that shows that there's room for you to do the same as well. Okay, so use case studies and examples of other sellers and other competitors against Little Tyke if you see them and they're doing well. And generally, they'll probably be private labeled products, and that means that you should be able to penetrate the market as well. And then the final point, which is kind of a minor point, but it's also a bit important, will you be able to differentiate yourself or provide more value so people will buy your product instead of Little Tyke? So again, this is a general, I guess, thing that you should be thinking about for any private labeled product, regardless of whether it's brand dominated or not. But again, it's much more important in the situation like this where there's a brand that seems to be owning the market or really significantly dominating the market. You want to make sure that you have some way of differentiating. So go look at the negative reviews of that product, of their various products. See what people in the market are saying, what complaints they have about the existing products on the market, and make sure that yours doesn't have those same faults and those same mistakes and whatnot. It's not defective in those same regards, and that will help you differentiate and offer that uh, better product just in quality. That will you can use that to convince your potential customers to buy your product over the others. So, Ridwan, do you have any other points on this question before we move to other questions?
Obviously, I think Marshall, you covered everything. I just want to emphasize the successfully competing thing because I think that the thing with Amazon is that it's a very, very fortunate business model because we don't need to guess because it's all about data. As in, what I would recommend to this person is go into the Prophet Phoenix market research tool or look manually on Amazon, use whatever, and look for evidence of private labelers like yourself, that you'll see the long titles and everything. See if this private label is competing well in that market. And if you do, then I would recommend, that's evidence. So just look for that evidence that people like yourself are doing well. You don't need to guess because that data will be there. So that's what I would recommend, that data. Always take a data-driven approach because we are in a very fortunate position of a world of BSR numbers, review numbers, weights, sales estimates, that kind of thing, where it's not like opening up a restaurant where you have no idea what the actual demand is or whatever. This is a very fortunate position where it's a numbers business. So always, look at the data and, look out for that.
Absolutely. All right, so that's it for the submitted Q&A. Now, again, let's see if there are any final questions here live, and then we'll be closing off the live coaching call. What is the clearance time at the port in LA, Ridwan?
The clearance time can vary a lot because it depends on how you're shipping it. So, for example, when we're talking about the easy way of doing ocean shipping, when I mentioned Forest, their shipping is through the port is going to go through, it's going to fly through because of what we discussed in terms of they've got a very, very good, reputation and record with the customs and the port. So if you go with that method, it should go through quickly. It can take, between 2 to 7 days. Or, but if you take the other method, it could take up to 2 weeks. It could take a few days. It really varies a lot. The key thing is always leave yourself a few days, leeway so that you don't go out of stock. And the best thing to do is just ask Forrest how long do you think it's going to take. Because the thing is, as I can see someone else asked, isn't it a bit risky? The fact is that these shipping companies, they're shipping things out hundreds and thousands and millions, tens of millions of dollars of units every week. So your shipment is a drop in the bucket for them. It's easy. Do you get what I mean? So um, it's all part of a big chain, as in it should go through easily. It's just like a conveyor belt, as in it can take a few days, but that's basically it.
Okay, excellent. And then with regards or related to that point of the risk, the person specifically said if a shared ship sinks, all customers will have to pay their part of the cost of the ship. Is there any insurance policy you recommend for ocean shipping?
Again, that comes down to, with the shipping company that you're using. So you can ask for shipping about paying a bit extra to have that insurance, etc. But to be honest, it's probably really like unnecessary because the chances of those things happening are very, very, you know, minor. It's really unlikely that it's going to happen. But obviously, if you do want that protection, then ask Forest and they can, cater to that.
Okay, excellent. Someone was asking, there's someone in the course who's from Pakistan. He said how much timing varies based upon your student's experience. I think I would assume that shipping samples from China to Pakistan is a lot quicker or fairly quicker than shipping from China to the US just because China and Pakistan are neighboring countries. But again, I'm not necessarily sure of the exact timing. Like I said, it shouldn't be any more than like a week generally, because it's air shipping and the process is fairly quick. It's just a very small item that you're getting, a couple of samples. So that's the sample timing. What sort of pricing is good when negotiating with forest shipping? For example, they're pricing how far can you go down without offending them because we want to build a good rapport with them, not upset them. So this general negotiating principles, specifically with regards to forest shipping. Ridwan, do you have any tips on that?
Um, it really varies, as in you should just make sure that you're not pushing the limit. So say for example, if they've quoted you $3,000, trying to half it to $1,500 would probably be a bit, ridiculous. That's how they'll see it. So I think the main thing is you need to judge it on a case by case thing. So if you're being quoted $3,000, try going for $2,300, and they'll say no. Let's do it for $2,600, which is good because you saved $400. That kind of thing, and it's the kind of thing where it's difficult to give guidance on a sort of principle to follow. It's just the kind of thing where as you get involved in more and more negotiations, you'll just have that intuition. You'll know what to say or how much you could go down to as you gain more knowledge and experience. So I think the main thing is this is the kind of thing where you should just negotiate as much as you can, get that practice, and over time you'll develop that stuff. I mean that instinct.
Okay, excellent. And then one final question from someone. He said, "What's the name of the freight forwarding company to ocean ship the hard way that you mentioned?"
It was eternalship.com.
Eternalship.com. Okay, perfect. And like I said, if there's any information that any of you may have forgotten, or Ridwan, mashallah, talks extremely fast, even though today he was better than usual. If you go to the second live coaching call from the first batch of students, you'll see the potential speed he can talk at. But I'm just joking, but he, everything, all the information that was in the presentation that he did will all be provided to you in PDF format, and also the video recording itself will be provided very soon in the members area, so you don't have to worry about not having any of that. Okay, so the Profit Phoenix sourcing service, as Rodwan mentioned towards the end of his presentation, that service for now is closed. And if I'm not mistaken, as he mentioned, in April it will reopen. So again, more information from Redwan will be provided directly from Profit Phoenix's and to you. He was sending out a few emails over the past few days regarding that offer that he was, making for the sourcing service. I'm sure for those of you who are, Profit Phoenix members, you must have received those emails. So if you want to make sure that you receive those emails, at the very least, go ahead and sign up for that free trial so you're on their email list, and you'll get that information when it's again open. Okay, I think that is it. The final thing I would like to say again is thank you to everyone for attending the second of 5 EEA Masters Life coaching calls. As I mentioned to you guys, I'm always trying to bring on guest speakers and people who are really experts in their own regards on certain topics. As part of this, business model of Amazon, it's so vast and there's so many different aspects. And myself, of course, I've given a general layout of everything in the course, but there are specific topics such as ocean shipping, even like building a list last week, which is what we did together last week. Those are very specialized topics on which you can go into more depth than what you have in the course. And hopefully you guys have found these coaching calls, these first 2 so far, to be beneficial and valuable. And I'll try my best in the next 3 coaching calls to provide the same amount of value to you all. I also want to specifically thank Ridwan again. It's just quite remarkable. Everything, mashallah, he's accomplished and everything he will continue to accomplish in his life, in entrepreneurship and in other areas as well. And the ability he has to eloquently and clearly explain topics that are seemingly complicated, like ocean shipping, and just kind of lay out everything. I really appreciate him doing that for us, especially on such short notice. I only approached him just a couple of days ago to do this, and he was gracious enough to do this for us. So again, Ridwan, thank you so much. And on behalf of all of the students of my course, I also want to extend my appreciation to you, and thank you again so much.
No problem, bro.
All right, guys. Have a great week. Hope you found this to be valuable and beneficial, and I will see you next week on the 3rd live coaching call of EEA Masters. Have a great week. Thank you for attending. Jazakallah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.